Hello friends and family, my name is Sebastian Sanders, Executive Director and Founder here at Sanders Hand. I want to talk to you guys about how Sanders Hand even started. If you've been following me for quite some time, you know this has been something that we've been working in for the past 6 years. But a lot of people really don't know how we got started. So let me tell you that story today. So about 6 years ago, this is 2017, this was around April, I believe, maybe at the end of March. And I am sitting in my dorm, getting ready to go to my statistics class. And mind you, I hated statistics. I'm a numbers guy, I like math, but for some reason, statistics was like one of the hardest classes I had to take in college. And so I'm getting ready to go to class. But I had just got out of a meeting earlier that day with my career advisor. We were just talking about some things. So I'm a sophomore at the time. And so I'm realizing that, okay, I'm a sophomore. I want to get an internship within the next year or so. I want to maybe have a job offer before I graduate. So I'm getting ready to build out these last 2 years of college for myself. And she challenged me. She said, Sebastian, you got some pretty good experience so far at your age, but you need some type of other involvement, something that speaks volume of who you are as a person, maybe some community involvement. And so, it kind of struck me. So I said, okay, let me figure some things out. And so I've always had that art of giving in my life. I always tell a story about, I've been giving since I was maybe 10 years old. Quick little story I'll tell you about that is, so I used to get Christmas money once I got like 13, 14 years old. My parents stopped giving me gifts. They started giving me money. And so before I could even go buy anything that I wanted for myself, my parents made sure I bought gifts for my mom, dad, brother, sister, grandma, everybody, right? Everybody in my immediate family, I had to purchase gifts for. When you're a young person, you're like 11, 12 years old, you want to buy shoes, video games, clothes. You're not trying to go buy gifts for other people. So the first year, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, I hated it. I did not like it at all. But as the years went on, I realized the joy that I was seeing on my family's faces when I would just get them gifts. I remember I got my grandmother a Red Lobster gift card. She loved Red Lobster back in the day. And she was so excited. She said, I'm gonna take myself out. In that moment, I was like, I like this. I like seeing my family happy. Since then, giving was installed in me, and since then I've been giving. And so when my career advisor challenged me, I said, okay, I gotta figure something out. So I immediately went home. Right after statistics class, I called my dad. My dad is literally my best friend, my business advisor, my consultant. I called him about literally everything. And I said, hey dad, I want to do a community event. Before we even started Sanders Hand, I really didn't know anything about nonprofits. Only thing I knew about nonprofits was maybe the goodwills in the world, but I didn't know anything about nonprofit organizations in my local community at the time. And so really didn't even know how you start a nonprofit. And mind you, I'm only 19, maybe 20 years old at the time, right? So, I'm still figuring out life while going through college. And so my dad says, I told my dad, I said, hey dad, I want to do a backpack drive. So my dad, he's always been very open and honest with me, but he's always challenged me to be greater than myself. And so he said, son, typically anybody can do a back to school drive. Nothing wrong with that. But he said, I think you can do more for your community. You're destined to do more. I'm 20 years old, 19 at the time, I can't really remember. So I'm hearing this and I'm like, okay, do what then? I don't know exactly what he's challenging me. But usually when I'm challenged academically or in business, things that I'm really passionate about, I get very ambitious and I start working, right? I become a workaholic. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. So a nonprofit just popped up in my mind. I think God just gave it to me, nonprofit organization. So I never forget this. I'm playing 2K at the house with my close friends. We're playing 2K. I think I'm losing. I think I'm about to get 21. So if you play 2K, 21 is like if you're losing by 21, the game is essentially over, right? And so I think I'm losing. So I'm already just trying to get out the game, and it hit me. I said Sanders Hand, right? Sanders being my last name, Hand being imagery of us lending a helping hand to the community. The name was created. So the name was created because I was losing at 2K. So I said, I got it, Sanders Hand. I immediately said, hey bro, I'm done with the game. Got my laptop, got my notebook, start writing stuff down. I said, I'm going to start this nonprofit organization. The first thing I did when we started Sanders Hand, a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people look at me funny when I tell them this. The first thing that we did is, as a nonprofit organization, we gathered materials, clothes, shoes, toys, and I took it to a local shelter in San Antonio, Texas. The first thing we did as an organization, we gave to another organization. Now, I always tell people when they start something, give to somebody else. Because you're gonna learn more about your community, you're gonna learn more about your involvement in the community, and you're also gonna learn more about the needs of the community. The first thing we did was give And that giving moment changed my life because I met a lady, Kathy Hamilton, who's the CEO and the founder of San Antonio Threads. When I met her, she literally changed my whole trajectory of nonprofit. She showed me so much. She gave me a lot of wisdom. She introduced me to a lot of people. And Sanders Hand was founded. So we started in April 2017. I put together our board. I got a lot of my college friends together. We created an organization that essentially took off faster than life. A lot of people don't know this, but when we first started, we didn't have any major funders giving us money in the beginning. A lot of things that I was doing was self-funding. We did t-shirt sales. A lot of my friends and family were donating to the organization, but we didn't really have our first big donation until about 2 years into the organization. And that came from an individual donor. And so Sanders Hand took off. We were working in San Antonio on the east side and the south side of San Antonio. And our biggest thing when we first started was how can we send more kids to college? We soon didn't realize, through programming and working with so many children on the front line, a college success story is not the same for everybody, right? Somebody from anywhere can pick up a trade or start a business or go straight into the workforce or go to the military, and they can create their own success from themselves and their family, right? And so we realized we don't want to force feed this push of college, because that's exactly what the typical high school, public school systems are built for, to push every student to go to college. Mind you, everybody doesn't learn the same way. So roughly about 3 years into the organization, I want to say right when the pandemic hit, you started to notice a shift in education. Technology was overtaking education. Our kids are learning straight from the internet, and our kids are being more exposed to opportunities to create generational wealth. And when you think about that, we look at the impoverished communities. We're talking about the kids whose family may live below the poverty line. The median household income may be anywhere from $30,000 to $45,000, when the average expected household income to raise a family in the United States in today's world may be anywhere double of that, right? And so we're talking about those kids who necessarily go without the resources, without the literacy, sometimes without even the essential basic needs. And so when you think about those kids, what is the biggest need? The biggest need is lack of financial circulation. What that means is there's not enough money circulating around the household. So our organization, Sanders Hand, what we changed it about 3 years ago is we changed our whole programming to decipher that root of the problem, which is the lack of financial circulation. That's when the Young Billionaires Club was birthed. Our first program that we ran was called the Define Success Program, teaching students how to define success for themselves. Had tremendous success. Within our first 3 years, we serviced roughly over 3,000 students from San Antonio to Houston, and now we're servicing roughly over 5,000 over the past 2 years. Great time, right? But we as an organization, you have to learn how to evolve. So Sanders Hand evolved in about 2020 into what we are today, which is a Young Billionaires Club. But all of this started because I was sitting aside my college dorm playing 2K, and the organization started. And that's my story. And for me, I have a passion for business and community. And so I love business, which is why I went to school for business. I graduated with my bachelor's in business management, which is why I went to go work for PepsiCo in business sales and business supply chain. But I also have a heart of giving. I love community. I love seeing other people happy. I love helping others. And so in my life, I wanted to figure out, how do I cultivate the two? Because I can easily go and start an organization that's all for profit and, you're all about the money. But when giving has been installed in you since you were a young boy, that's all that you know. And the more that you give, the more that you take care of people, you're creating a legacy. And so I always wanted to be remembered, what legacy am I going to create here on this earth? Because I can have all the nice things, the nice cars, clothes, and all that, but it doesn't mean anything because it can't go with me. I want to be remembered as somebody who's started change and changed the lives of others. So Sanders Hand is really just more than a nonprofit organization. This is a worldwide movement that's pushing towards the future of education. What we're building here at the Sanders Hand for the past 6 years is we're building that bridge between students who feel like school is not for them anymore and they want to just essentially drop out or go do something. We're that bridge that's keeping it all together. We're keeping it afloat. And so everything that we do is really just about being the change and not looking for the change and not waiting for the next organization to do it. We're stepping out on their front line and doing it. And our heart and soul was built off of us as young students being inside of the classrooms, volunteering on the front line. Our first year, I got a lot of my college friends so many resume hours and so many community service hours because I was telling everybody, like, hey, if you want these hours, come volunteer for us as an organization. But we exposed so many students to things that they didn't even know about. Not just students that we service, but the students that I was in the same classroom with when I was a college student. And it all started as a dream inside of a dorm. And now we have our own Young Billionaires Club thrift store, where we have our own school in Ghana, Africa. We have programs that are operating at a high level with over 5,000 people serviced. We're responsible for over $20,000 in academic scholarships that have been given back to our students for them to fund their careers and their businesses. And that's just the beginning. And so within the past 6 years, you know, I couldn't do this without your continued support. And I want to thank each and every one of you for believing in me as a 19-year-old kid when I started this organization. I never forget the love that we received when we first started. But for us to be here today, it means a lot. And I couldn't do this alone. Without every donor, every volunteer, people who just even shared us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever, Facebook, that truly means a lot. And you're the reason why we're here today. But for the parents that allowed their students to be taught from us, and for the students that allowed us to intervene in their lives to create change, this is exactly why we do the things that we do. And so for those of you that didn't really know how Sanders Hand got started, it got started 6 years ago inside my college dorm, and we're here today. And so I can't wait to see what the next 6 years brings for us as an organization. Thank you so much, and don't look for change, be the change.